On the arid prairie, where every drop of water, every calorie is a battle for survival, there is one creature that always knows how to find hidden treasures beneath the ground. The honey badger, a creature born to dig. Its sharp claws and supple body are the perfect tools to access nutrients that others cannot reach. And today, it has found a treasure. A sugar-rich ground beehive filled with golden liquid honey, a precious energy source in the arid desert. But on this prairie, nothing is free. Thousands of stings from the protective bee colony await the intruder, and as the honey badger struggles with the bees to harvest its spoils, another one appears. A baboon, intelligent, agile, and daring, has decided that this treasure will be its. Today, I will tell you about an unexpected confrontation, about perseverance, about surprise, and about how a leopard and apricot blossom changed the course of a war that seemed to be decided. This is the story of someone who never gives up. Look at that digging creature. The honey badger, the outlaw of the steppe, is using its sharp claws to reach a precious source of nutrition. Underground, a giant beehive holds the liquid gold of the steppe. Honey, a calorie-rich source of sugar, a true treasure in the midst of the arid, dry season. But every treasure has its protector. Thousands of bees attack the intruder, plunging their venomous stings into the honey badger's skin. The pain is excruciating, but it doesn't stop. For the honey badger, survival is a game of endurance. It can withstand stings that other species cannot. Its thick skin and shaggy fur are a perfect armor. But digging and fighting the bees, it doesn't realize it's being watched. A pair of eyes is staring at it from behind. A baboon, opportunistic and reckless, is assessing the situation. It's smarter than the honey badger. It's faster than the honey badger, and it realized that the honey badger was doing all the hard work. And while the honey badger was busy with the bees, the baboon swooped in. In a sudden lunge, the baboon knocked the honey badger over. It didn't need to dig. It didn't need to fight the bees. It just needed to steal. The baboon grabbed the beehive and leaped onto a high rock. It sat there, using its nimble fingers to peel back the honeycomb, savoring the drops of golden liquid honey. On the ground, the honey badger stood up. It was in pain from the bee stings. It was exhausted from digging. And now, it was watching its spoils being stolen. In evolutionary biology, there's a clear difference between the two. Baboons rely on temporary physical strength. Honey badgers rely on unwavering persistence. They have almost no instinct to run away. And now, that persistence is being tested. The honey badger isn't thinking about giving up. It's thinking about only one thing: how to reclaim what's rightfully its. It lunges at the rock, beginning a new fight. The battle began. The honey badger was smaller, weaker, and more exhausted. But it didn't stop. The baboon was stronger, faster, and had a height advantage. But it couldn't push back this frenzied attacker. Every time the baboon attacked, the honey badger retaliated. Every time the baboon tried to retreat, the honey badger lunged forward. This was no longer a fight for food. This was a battle of wills. Both were burning the calories they were fighting to consume. In the harsh, dry season, the energy cost of obtaining a meal could easily outweigh the value of that meal. This was a fight that both could lose, but neither was thinking about it. The entire baboon troop didn't participate. They prioritized individual survival over collective protection. They watched from afar, unconcerned about their fellows' fight. And the fight continued. With each passing minute, both grew more exhausted, but only one was thinking of giving up. The honey badger did not give up. The baboon had learned that the honey badger could not be defeated by ordinary bites. Its thick, loose skin, its perfect armor, made the bites ineffective. And the honey badger, though younger and smaller, still had a secret weapon. A bite from it, regardless of age, was strong enough to break bones. Both were exhausted. Both were in pain. Both were burning through the precious energy they needed to survive. And then, a sudden moment occurred. The baboon, in a reckless attack, snatched the beehive. It retreated with its spoils, leaving the honey badger standing there, empty-handed, exhausted, and defeated. This was the moment when everyone would give up. This is the moment when any creature would bow its head and accept defeat. But the honey badger is not just any creature. In that moment, the baboon thought it had won. It thought the fight was over. But it was wrong. In the baboon's biology, defeat is not an option. Perseverance is deeply encoded in its DNA, and now, that perseverance is erupting. The honey badger lunged straight from the baboon's blind spot. A sudden, fierce, and unhesitating attack. The baboon was thrown back. The beehive fell to the ground. The fight erupted again with renewed intensity. But this was no longer simply a dispute over resources. A surge of adrenaline had taken over the honey badger's body. It was no longer fighting for food. It was fighting because it couldn't imagine stopping. The baboon's screams echoed across the savannah. These chaotic sounds created a dangerous blind spot. A blind spot that another predator had noticed. From afar, a dark shadow began to move. A leopard, the most stealthy killer of the savannah, had heard the noise. It had noticed the chaos. Normally, leopards hunt at night, but today, the baboon's screams had awakened an ambition it could not ignore. In the chaos, it lunged. A burst of explosive sprint. The leopard leaped out of the shadows, ending the battle between the two enemies in an instant. It clamped its grip on the baboon's neck, a fatal bite. There was no chance for the baboon to react. No chance to escape. The baboon, which had stolen the beehive from the honey badger, was now the victim of a larger predator. The wheel of fate on the savannah was complete. But the story was not yet over. Instead of fleeing, the honey badger did something unexpected. It lunged straight at the leopard. This couldn't be happening. A tiny, exhausted creature with nothing to defend but pride, attacking a top predator. But the honey badger didn't care about that. It attacked the leopard's flank. It bit its tail. It did everything it could to get attention. The leopard was confused. It tried to pull its prey out of the chaos, but the honey badger wouldn't stop. The persistence of the small creature forced the leopard to make a crucial biological calculation. Was this prey worth the risk of injury? And the answer was no. The leopard gave up. It released the baboon and retreated, leaving its spoils to the madman who had messed everything up. The baboon, severely wounded but still breathing, had miraculously survived. And the honey badger? It stood there, covered in dust, exhausted and empty-handed. But it had done the impossible. It had repelled the leopard. It had saved its enemy's life. And it had proven one thing on this savannah. When you don't give up, you can change everything. Finally, the leopard left. It had nothing to eat. It had lost an easy meal to a small, fearless creature. The baboon crawled away, badly wounded, but still alive. It would carry that wound for the rest of its life, but it would live to tell the story of the day it nearly died and was saved by its enemy. And the honey badger, the one who started it all, stood there, covered in dust, exhausted and empty-handed. It had no honey. It had no victory. It had only dust and exhaustion. But it was still alive. In the natural world, that's all that matters. I've witnessed many battles on this savannah, but few have left me with such a profound lesson as today's battle. The honey badger didn't win in the traditional way. It had no food. It had no spoils. But it won in the most important way. It survived. And it showed us that sometimes victory isn't about having something. Get what you want. Sometimes victory is never giving up, even when everything is against you. Because in the wild, as in life, it's not the strongest who survives, but the one who doesn't give up. The honey badger has proven that today, and it will continue to prove it, day after day, until it no longer has the strength to stand. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson the savannah can teach anyone. So, what does this story teach us? In the natural world, as in life, there will be times when you are defeated. There will be times when you are robbed of what you deserve. There will be times when everything is against you. But the honey badger has shown us one thing. When you don't give up, you can do the impossible. You can repel predators bigger than yourself. You can save your enemies. And you can survive to fight another day. The honey badger has no food, but it has perseverance. It has courage. And it has the refusal to let fear hold it back. And perhaps that is all you need to survive on this savannah. In life, there will be baboons that steal what belongs to you. There will be leopards that threaten your existence. And there will be times when you are left with nothing. But as the honey badger has proven, there is no such thing as a final failure if you never give up. And sometimes, your perseverance can change everything. Because ultimately, that's what makes a true survivor. As night fell on the savannah, I realized one thing. The honey badger hadn't gotten what it wanted. It didn't get the honey. It didn't get the victory. But it had something more important. It had survived. And in the wild, survival is the only true victory. Ask yourself, when you are robbed of what you deserve, what will you do? When you are defeated, will you get back up? When everything is against you, will you continue or give up? Because in the end, as the honey badger proved, perseverance can change everything. It can repel predators bigger than you. It can save the lives of your enemies, and it can ensure that you survive to fight another day. In a world full of cruelty, that is the only thing we can do. Keep going, never stop, never give up, because that is the instinct of a warrior, and nothing is stronger than that instinct. What do you think about the way the honey badger attacked the leopard, even though it had nothing to defend itself with but pride? Do you think it did the right thing? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to follow more stories from the wild. See you in the next episode.